Hello, today we talk of the female baker, Salima. I see her in all the eyes of the female bakers who are sitting on the side of the roads, looking at her bread or the passers-by who pass in front of her. She sits on a piece of cold cardboard, hoping to protect her from the cold of the sidewalk, and maybe she will forget the cold below as she gazes at the feet of passers-by mingling in front of her without stop. Maybe we don't think of her while passing quickly by this woman sitting under her abaya. Maybe we don't feel her, whether she is suffering or at least the difficulties she is facing. We move on at her side as if she were forgotten, a margin that no one will review. I thank the writer Ghaeb Farman for placing her at the forefront of his beautiful novel, The Palm Tree and the Neighbours, so that we will remember her over the years across the sidewalks and the markets. Salima of Ghaeb Farman is still sitting in the same place. She has not left it, still alone on the side of the road, sitting cross-legged under her black, old and torn abaya, behind her breads, which she baked this morning. She waits for her clients, who often arrive late. She is still sitting there, a long time ago, long before the time of author Ghaeb Farman. From time to time, my feet led me towards the district of Moraba, towards its narrow lanes, to walk in its shadows and under its shanashils, to visit the ruins of its old demolished houses, or whose features have completely faded away. As you see, the neighborhood has been invaded by commerce and has become an important shopping and warehouse center. I pass from here to look for the remnants of souvenirs, the houses and their ruins, and smell the scent of those who lived there and left for a long time ago. For example, the home of singer Zakiya George, who came from Aleppo, Syria, to sing and become famous before returning to her country, letting her songs play ever since. Also the house and council of researcher Yaqub Sarkis, overlooking the Tigris River. This is also the home of our author, novelist Ghaeb Farman, born here and died in Moscow in 1990. The history of the district dates back to Abbasid times. District Bab al-Maratib, site of one of the gates of the palace of the Abbasid Caliphate. District of Bab al-Usj. It is located between the mosque of Sayyid Sultan Ali and Al-Sinek district. Today it is called Al-Moraba, after its square shape. Of its old beards, Shariat Sayyid Sultan Ali, water was brought, and where French and Russian consulates were located during the Ottoman era. In this place, different races and religions have lived: Christians, Muslims, and Jews. In this place, I still find Salima, the female baker, whom Ghaeb Farman spoke of in his novel The Palm Tree and the Neighbours. Her eyelashes still burnt by the intensity of the oven she is working on. She is still sad, like the allays of Moraba, but this time without Toma Farman. She is still sitting, staring at passers-by, looking at faces, hoping that she would catch up with her next customer. And maybe she wouldn't go home carrying her bread and be forced to knock on the doors of people hoping to find them in need of her bread. The novel The Palm Tree and the Neighbours, written in Iraqi dialect by Ghaeb Farman, is one of the most awarded novels. It has been turned into a play and a movie. Its events take place here in this part of Baghdad, described by the author as complete poverty. the author presents us the story with its details. The novel, The Palm Tree and the Neighbours, takes place in the 40s and the 50s of the last century, and it was printed in 1965 after his novels The Harvest of Millstones and Another Birth. As I pass through these alleys, I wonder why the writer has associated the baker with the palm tree, which doesn't give dates. Farman says of this woman whom we love by reading her between his lines, who works miserably in front of the oven with her cracked face. She saw in front of her ugly palm tree, crouching near the wall in the middle of a black circle. An abandoned and barren palm tree like her lives with her in her house, mute and deaf. She supports all the dirty water that's thrown into her basin, and summer and winter pass without it bears fruit. The description is hard. Why does he tie Salima to this abandoned palm tree? She lives in these difficult circumstances. She is silent and doesn't speak of her suffering, in which she is drowning. She is suffering, she is misery. Early in the morning, she gets up to knead and brings firewood, cooks and turns and exposes herself to various difficulties, the simplest of which is theft. We see Salima in the novel tired and sad and destitute, with her thick eyelids and tired eyes, as she wears a thick black dress and the dust of the days weighs on her body. Sad scenes from Salima. She was sitting in her dark room beside her palm tree, and it was raining. The author describes the sky as a colossal gourd that split apart. They lived in horror of drowning and collapsing houses. They were cut off from the outside wall, while you find rain in rich districts descending on houses with all its aesthetic and all its poetry. So the rain is beautiful in the elegant districts, like Arad, an extreme beauty, like the pipes with which one sprinkles the gardens, as is the case in Aunt Nishmiya's house, where the rain washed the house and made it beautiful. One of the painful situations for her is that she found out that Hussein, her husband's son whom she raised, was stealing from her. Despite this, she didn't take a strong reaction. She just mourned her fortune and fell silent with a session of tears. She told him, "Is that how Hussein is? Is it the compensation for the 6 years I raised you? It is the compensation for the years I spent doing bread to make you tall like that. It's bad, Hussein." I still see her today, sitting behind the walls of her leaning room and continuing to lean without collapsing or waiting to collapse. She still trails her step in her alleys. In this forgotten margin, she continues to carry bread on her head and tossing around until she can sell what she has in her basket in the street of Moraba, which remain beautiful despite the neglect. How much she wanted to expand her oven to make it a bakery, but the project was not carried out. One day, she waited for the radish vendor. She wanted to eat radish. She ran when hearing his call, but the alley was full of children, and the radish vendor voice was lost with the children's shouts, and she didn't find the radish vendor, and she came back to be on her own until the end of the novel. Salima continues through the centuries, living and suffering, but when she dreams, when she remembers her happy moments, no one reaches her imagination. Her imagination exceeds the imagination of the dreamy narrator. When she dreams, she extracts the most beautiful dream in the world a lonely dream that is renewed every time she lays her tired head on her lazy pillow, to free her fertile imagination to renew the same dream with another color. She comes back to memory at a breakneck speed to live and ruminate on a wonderful memory that she takes back every time she puts her head on the pillow, remembering those beautiful moments of her life before succumbing to sleep. In her head, the waves of the river pass, and she remembered the boat that carried her for crossing the river and arriving at the city of Samarra. It was shaking her gently over transparent water through which she saw colored bubbles that seemed so close to her that she could reach out her hand and pick it up. It was summer. She got off the train and got into the boat, leaning on her husband's arm. This beautiful memory caresses her cold eyelids to slowly close them, so that she slowly comes out of her reveries and enters the dreams of sleep. The poor have simple dreams like the torn dish-dashas of children that swell when the air shakes them. Dreams and sweet memories are their hot sesame bread. Samarra's magnificent boat will continue to sway in her memories until her last days, especially when she is relaxing on her bed and awaiting sleep. Although her beautiful memories are limited, they are renewed with every lounging on the bed, drawing a genuine smile on her shaped lips. And as always, I say goodbye to Salima the baker. I say goodbye to her world, and I dive into the fast-paced world. I too will try to find my beautiful memories, to spend my day in a flexible and pleasant way, like the boat that made Salima cross the Tigris River and made her experience the best moments of her life. Goodbye, Salima.